Stokes before we go.
Amber, tell me when it's on, so I know.
It's on.
Okay, I won't say.
Call to order the regular meeting of the Board of County Commissioners on Monday, December 13th, 2021 at 6 o'clock. It's always a start off invocation. I'll ask Commissioner Barney Castle to lead us, please.
Right. Dear Heavenly Father, we come to you today, Lord. Thank you for many blessings. Thank you for the rain over the weekend. It was greatly appreciated. Go with us and guide us, direct us in this meeting. Everything we do, we pleasing to you. Look after our military who is on foreign soil. That protects us to give us this freedom that we have. In Jesus' name, amen.
Please continue standing for our pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We'll now move on to our organization of the Board of County Commissioners, and I'll turn it over to Ms. Amber.
Okay, so our first item of business will be election of the chairman. I'll open the floor now for nominations for the election of chairman of the Stokes County Board of Commissioners.
I nominate Sonia Cox.
Second.
Are there any other nominations?
Make a motion, we close nominations.
I second.
Okay, I'll poll the board now. Start with Chairman or Commissioner Nicholson.
Commissioner Cox.
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 Cox. Cox.
Okay. Commissioner Cox is nominated as chairman of the Stokes County Board of Commissioners. You can take over the meeting now.
Oh. All right. Musical chairs? Musical chairs for a minute.
I'm moving that.
Take my jacket unless you want.
Second
Might
part.
look good on me. I'll sit here for at least a minute.
All right. I'm going to now open the floor for nominations for the election of the vice chair.
Madam Chair, I'd like to nominate Commissioner Barney Castle as vice chair.
All right. Are there any more nominations?
Make a motion to close nominations.
All right.
Thank you.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
All right. And I'm going to poll the board. Starting with
Barney Castle. Barney Castle, I guess.
Barney Castle. Barney Castle.
okay,
Barney Castle.
Barney Castle. All right.
All right, let's do it one more time.
Again, you could have just stayed on.
Get on my joint. Andy looks like a kid's been down here.
Appreciate the present you left me though.
All right. I'll give y'all a second to shift around. Okay. Yeah.
Just this way, Bob.
Make sure it's not been moved and all the movement here.
That chair's tricky. It's a trick chair.
One hit with trickle in the floor.
All right. Moving on. Next item is the approval of the agenda. Are there any additions, corrections, or anything to the agenda?
Make a motion, we approve the agenda as is.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. And the next item is public comments. Was there anyone signed up for public comments? Is there anybody here that wishes to speak to the board that didn't sign up? All right, then we'll close that. We'll move on to our comments from our commissioners and manager, and we'll start with Commissioner Morris.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to welcome everybody out tonight that's either online or with us here. I would like to express my condolences to the family of Judge Key, who recently passed away. I had some limited dealings with him when I was county manager, and actually intended to make this comment at the last meeting, but he had passed away just the day before, and it slipped my mind, but definitely wanted to do that. That's all I have, Madam Chair.
All right, Commissioner Nicholson.
Thank you, ma'am. Good to see a new chairman and vice chairman here at the board right here. Take a little break. With that, I'm pleased to hear that we have some new jobs coming to Stokes County. There's a company that's decided to put another place here, and I'm glad they chose us. Looks like they're going to be bringing about close to 30 jobs, and a lot of credit goes to Mr. Will Carter. He done a lot of work in behind this and getting it done, and so it's thought I'd share some good news before we get started.
Good to hear. All right, Commissioner Mendenhall.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I also would like to express my condolences to the Key family. In fact, I had spoken with Judge Key the week before he passed away, and I really hated to hear that. And I want to thank everybody that's here for our meeting tonight. We got a slim number, but hey,
'Tis the season.
it's Christmas time, and we're not going to get many people coming out on Christmas month, but thank y'all for coming out. And for everybody that's watching via live stream, I want to thank you for participating. And I tell you, it's a special time of year where we celebrate the birth of Christ. And I love Christmas. And especially when you have 5 children and 5 grandchildren. Makes it a little bit more special when they can come and see you and you go see them. And I've got a couple of family members that are having surgeries over the Christmas holidays, and one of them's pretty serious, so ask for your prayers for them. And just thank you for coming again. And that's all I have, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Mr. Barney.
Well, it's great to see everybody tonight. Slim crowd, still great to see everybody. Kind of reiterate, Commissioner Barson Mendenhall was talking about Judge Key, condolences to his family. A lot of people didn't know, Judge Key and I were related, and I had spoken with him a week before his death, like Mr. Mendenhall did, and he was geared up and ready to go for another election, but the good Lord had other plans for him. One other person that I'd like to send prayers out to tonight, the family, is Frankie Burcham. I'm sure all of you here knew him. Rick was probably county manager at the time. He was fire marshal. Frankie passed away Saturday afternoon with a massive heart attack. So keep his family in your prayers as well.
Thank you. And I'd like to add to these condolences and these prayers. Judge Key's family especially has been on our hearts and minds, but also the families that were impacted by the tornadoes that went through several states, Kentucky being really hard hit. I know that's changing a lot of families' holidays and things that will never be the same. I just want us to remember those families. There are several in the community in the past week or so that we've lost community members, and I know of a couple that are in the hospital fighting COVID right now that we want to remember, and just pause to reflect on this season and what this season really means and the true meaning of Christmas. Hard to believe it's been a year since myself and Commissioner Barney Castle were sworn in, and this year's really flown by. I think I don't know about him, but I've enjoyed my first year of serving on the board, and look forward to continuing the work for the community and our communities and our county, and just plan on trying to do a good job of protecting the public trust and being a good steward of what's given to us to look after. That's all I have. Javer?
I just got a couple of things. Welcome to everybody here, and we won't meet again before Christmas, so Merry Christmas to everybody.
Merry Christmas.
And it's already that time. I had a chance between our last meeting and this meeting to attend a nice DARE graduation at one of our local schools I was invited to from the Sheriff's Department. It's nice to see that program still going with our Sheriff's Office. They do a really good job with the kids at that, and they really enjoy it. We got an early Christmas present today from the Stokes County Animal Shelter from a really nice donation that I was given that check this afternoon by Mayor Janet Witt from Jason Dawes, the owner of the Dawes Towing Company. He's from Stokes County. He made that donation to our Stokes County Animal Shelter on Sizemore Road, and Mayor Witt passed that along to us, and he just wants in return for our shelter to use that money for the animals at that shelter, to be kind to those animals and make some of their days better there, to buy toys, blankets, anything they might need, treats, just everything. He gave a generous donation of $5,000 to our shelter right here at Christmas. So we really just want to say thanks to Mr. Doss and encourage people to utilize his business also. It was a really nice gift. We really appreciate that. And I notified our animal shelter of that today, and they're going to post about that on their Facebook as well. So thank you so much to him for that. And I hope everybody has a wonderful Christmas.
All right. Moving on, we'll go to the conflicts of interest statement. Does any board member have a conflict of interest with any of the items on the agenda for tonight, or one that could be perceived as a conflict of interest?
Nope.
All right, hearing none, we'll move on to the consent agenda. Has the minutes, the budget amendments, the tax office items for approval, and the 2022 meeting schedule. Does anybody have any questions? Also, the review of the community services block grant.
Make a motion we approve.
Second.
No questions? All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, that takes us to the discussion agenda, and the first item is the request to reinstate the 80 hours of COVID time. I think Jamie Clark's here.
Hey, everybody.
Good afternoon.
Congratulations, Ms. Cox and Mr. Barneycastle, on your new positions on the board. So I come to y'all today. We come to y'all a few months ago because the emergency paid sick leave for our employees due to COVID expired. Well, of course, the original one expired earlier, and then we come to y'all and ask for an extension of the 80 hours, and that went through June 30th. Since then, COVID slowed down a little bit, but then after Thanksgiving, it's kind of ramped back up a lot with our employees. And we probably should have said this in the beginning, to let's allocate 80 hours to all employees. If they need to use that time with COVID, it's there for them to use. If they don't need it, then they don't have to use it. We just think it would be fair to at least let all employees have the 80 hours at their advantage if they need it. We've had several employees here lately that's exhausted all of their sick time and their vacation time being out with COVID or with a child or parent that has COVID. So that's why we come to y'all today, to see if y'all would not extend the 80 hours, but at least allow all county employees access to the 80 hours.
Okay, let's start with the questions. I'm sure we have a few. We'll start down here with Commissioner Morris. You have any questions?
Hey, Madam Chair, is this for people, they just use this time when they actually have COVID, or
Right, so
or
the
they're
way,
dealing with COVID?
yeah, the way that it was originally wrote was that if they had to be quarantined due to COVID, or if they were quarantined due to COVID exposure, which means they cannot come to work, they have to stay at home. And of course, you would have to have a letter from a doctor or primary care provider stating that you couldn't come to work. That's where this time would go in. And anybody, I know that this expired, like I said, in June, so we would go back and retroactive the date, or retro pay everybody that has been out since June up until now, or at least adjust their time so that they could have their sick or vacation time back, and then we would put it in as COVID time.
One other question, is there special funding for this, from some of that federal funding, COVID funding, or anything?
There was in the beginning of what expired last December, and then you all were nice enough to extend it with our pretty much just county funding from that time until June 30th, which we had hoped by then this pandemic might have been a little more under control, but we're seeing a major wave of it right now in a lot of our departments. A lot of people are out with it, and we also still have that in play with that 75 hours that you all approved to a borrowed time, where if they did use the 80 and they still had to have time, they can borrow that 75, which they pay back with their accruals. So we still do have that in place too, but it just seemed more fair to make it about each person rather than about the time limit, because you got half the employees might have used it, and now some are just now contracting COVID or having to be mandatory quarantined, and like, sorry, that 80 hours is up, it's gone. So we just would be extending it through our own time and putting their time back into their time, or just not utilizing that time and putting it in as COVID. But no, there is no other funding for that right now as far as through the ARPA or anything else.
The new funds can't be used for it, the American Rescue Plan can't be used for it.
Not concrete yet. I would.
Might be, possibly.
Yeah.
And is it, how long does the quarantine have to be?
Right now,
Days.
the health department is 10 days.
10 days, okay. That's all I have.
But sometimes if they're actually sick with COVID, sometimes they're out longer than that. If they
Okay.
can't come back, if it's just quarantine, they're usually back in the 10 days. Sometimes they're actually sick and they have to be out longer. And, sorry, and that ARPA money is ever unfolding. Every day you find out something new about it, that they're giving new guidance on it. So the other money was able to be used that way, so hopefully eventually this will be too. And if we're going to retroactive back to July, we'd have to just do it in the timeline of when that money was allocated to be sure we're doing that correctly.
Okay.
too.
Be good to use that money.
Oh, absolutely, if we can
possible.
use it first, yes, for sure.
This is just for employees that didn't use the ADA.
Right, they wouldn't be given another.
You wouldn't get another 80, it would just be people that have not had to use it yet.
Okay.
I just want to make sure I understand.
Plus, they haven't had COVID yet, so.
Correct.
And that's
We
what I was
hoped-
saying. I didn't think it was fair that judging on it,
Right.
okay, just because you got COVID last year, we're gonna allow you to have time, but this person got COVID this year, we're not gonna allow them time. In the
Right.
beginning, nobody knew how long this was gonna last, so.
And a few of the employees that have came and talked about it, it's a valid point, and like I said, we were just kind of also adjusting it as we could. We didn't know what was gonna happen either, how long this was gonna go on. Nobody saw it lasting this long, or that we'd still be in this major of people being out still.
I don't really have a question. I really don't have a problem with this because I kind of see it as, I mean, I didn't get hit with the first round either. It took the second or third round, whatever it was, to get me. So, and I've actually got 3 employees out with it as of last week. So, yeah, I understand what y'all are going through, but I don't have no problems with this.
Commissioner Mendenhall? you have
Only
a
thing
question?
I have is, Julia, does this, since we do not know at this point whether we can use the money that's coming down this time, Julia, is this coming out of contingency, or is this just the regular funds?
Well, I haven't done the other, we didn't transfer the money. We just, instead of their leave paying for their salary, this is paying for their salary, so it's really not any additional money.
Gotcha. Thank you. That's all I have.
Just changing where it's coming from instead
All
of.
right.
That's all I have.
You have any questions?
I know there's such thing as a HEPA law out there. You can only ask so many questions, and I would hope all the county employees would be honest, when they call and say, I've been exposed to, somebody's got COVID. Is that something that we follow up on and
They have
make?
to have something in writing. We get something in writing from their doctor stating that they are either out themselves like that, they're quarantined, or they're mandatory quarantine from exposure. Or because you get a call from the contact tracing on that. Usually the health department is the one notifying us anyway, even before them sometimes. So they have to have something in writing.
Okay.
Or like if they're a caregiver for somebody, but if they're a caregiver, more than likely they have exposure.
Right, they're out.
If it's a child or a
See, now that's tricky
spouse.
because the vaccinated, if you're vaccinated,
You don't have
according
to.
to guidelines, you don't have to quarantine anymore. So it's just the unvaccinated, if they're exposed, they have to quarantine.
Interesting.
Yeah. Okay. You and Jake put me out of work.
I know, I'm sorry. But luckily you didn't get it.
Do you have any idea maybe how many employees have utilized this so far?
Oh, gosh,
A lot.
a lot. A lot. We've got a banker's box full.
Uh-huh.
So it's a one-time thing? Is that what I'm hearing?
One time, like I said, they can have the 80 hours, and they may not need the whole 80 hours. So we have several employees that's only had to use 40 hours due to their schedule. So they still got 40 hours in the bank should they get quarantined again. So
I guess what I'm asking, if somebody had COVID before and they was up, come get it again,
they only have the 80 hours.
just 80 hours.
This is a one-time allowance, correct?
They have to use their own sick time after that.
Okay. Is this something we need to take action on tonight, or if we can?
Help us, 'cause
Yeah, it
we
would
can
help.
start working on getting
Right.
all the update the policy and get their time put back in. So,
Okay. Is that
And-
okay with the board? Everybody move it to item D on action. All right.
and if we can be sure when we approve that we retroactive that back to July 1, so that we can give those employees back time that had to use time.
All right. All right, moving on, the next, we're good on that, Jamie, thank you. The next item is the tax office agenda. Mr. Brand. Good evening.
Hey,
82 pages, but don't let that scare you. Don't let that scare you.
I was gonna say, don't bring
I'll give you the
82
quick
pages
version
up
and
here for us to read.
depth,
Just the
how-
Cliff
How
Notes.
deep we get into it. First item is our monthly tax collection status report. Everything's going good. We've collected a little over $15.5 million so far, or 63% of the budget amount. So about 0.5% above where we were last year at this time, so that's great. Moving along to our real and personal releases, less than 100. We have 5 accounts that total $83.23. Real and personal refunds, less than 100. We have 1 account for $50.40. Our real and personal releases, more than 100. We have 2 accounts that's $2,989.09. And the last one is real and personal refunds, more than 100. We have 8 accounts that total $6,635.55. We have 1 late application for elderly exemption. And then the next item would be a timeline for our listing period. We actually sent the listing file to South Data today to prepare that for printing. On the 16th, this Thursday, the Stokes News will run that advertisement in the paper. And we're going to plan on mailing these listing forms out on December 28th. That way the taxpayer will have the entire month of January to get their property listed in a timely manner. And then the final item, which takes up the bulk of this, is the personal property schedule of values and the depreciation schedules for 2022. So that's all I have. Do you have any questions? And I would like to move. Oh,
Go ahead. I don't know if anybody had any questions.
I didn't have any.
Okay.
I would like to move the real and personal releases more than 100, and the real and personal release refunds more than 100, and the late application for elderly exemption and the personal property schedule of values and depreciation schedule for 2022 to the December 27th consent agenda. That's why I'm here tonight, because I needed to get this approved before the calendar year run out.
Okay, so it'll be on consent at the next meeting.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Thank you, Richard.
Thank you. All right. So the next item is debt book application services. Julia.
In this fiscal year, 2021, we have got to report per GASB 87, our leases that we have with the county, or leases that we have that people pay us. Either way, we have to list them on the audit now. And we've been trying to pull together all these, Tracy's been trying to pull all these leases together so we know what we're handling. We have talked to this debt book at the conference we went to, plus we had been, the auditors had suggested this company also to us. But we had a presentation. It seemed very straightforward and very easy. They will scan in our leases and have the documents there, and then it will automatically generate the journal entries for the auditors, everything. It's a yearly fee of $7,500 and a $2,250 setup fee. I contacted 4 counties that they already are working with. That's our size. They have larger counties, but I picked 4 that was our size, and I got very good responses from the references that it's very easy to flow through and work with, and that the company has been very helpful to them getting all this information in there for this first round of doing this. And also it will keep up with our debt. Right now I keep that on a spreadsheet, and we can put all that in and the documents in there and everything, so you have documents right there, and it will help keep up with that and do the journal entry for the auditors, where I keep it manually at this time. So, but I'm asking the board to put this on next meeting's agenda to action. I will have a budget amendment for this if the board so wishes to go forward with it.
Julia, I just want to make sure of one thing. In the letter you've got in the next to last paragraph, the cost of $9,750 from a contingency says this cost includes a yearly fee of $7,500 and one-time implementation fee of $2,250. That one-time implementation fee, does that mean one time forever?
Yes.
Okay. Not once a year, but one time forever.
One time, just to help us get everything set up in the system.
Okay.
And it'll be our responsibility to scan in stuff, and once they walk us through, helping us get everything in there.
Thank you.
Okay, any other questions? Go ahead.
Julie, will this be done, if we approve this, will it be in time for this year's audit?
Yes.
One coming up, you'll be
Because
able
we
to,
have to have it in this year's audit.
okay, and that you can get it set up and everything in
Yes.
time to do
Yes,
that?
they say they will help us get it all set up,
Okay, good, that's important.
ready for the audit.
Any other questions? Sounds good to me. I think it'll make things simpler and better for the auditors and for us, so.
Just
good.
one quick question. Would it do you any better of approving this tonight so you ain't coming right after Christmas and only got a few days, or?
So I told them it would take 2 meetings, and they didn't
Okay.
have a problem with that. And with the holidays and stuff, they're probably not gonna do anything with it till after January anyway.
Okay.
Okay.
Another question, you said you're doing it on a spreadsheet now, just manually on a spreadsheet?
Yes.
Yeah, we need, yeah, this would be good to get this.
Yeah.
Keep you from having to do
I
that.
have several, 2 debt sheets I do every year for the auditors, and this would have it there, and 2, you know, you can print off anything anytime. Right now, you have to go look in the books and.
Yeah, and anytime you get a recommendation from your auditor, it's best to do it.
And this is in part of their software automatically, so it's just gonna sit with it.
Sounds good. All right, we'll have that on action at the next meeting then. So the next item is the YVETI board appointments. Amber?
So at the last meeting, I presented a request from Kathy Payne, who's the executive director of YVETI, and she had requested that the Stokes County appointments for the YVETI board be revisited since the 2 current appointees, which is Commissioner Barney Castle and Commissioner Nicholson, since they were unable to continue serving on the board. But at the last meeting, you requested that we contact Kathy Payne to inquire about the option for virtual participation, and she said that virtual participation is perfectly acceptable for the time being, and that a hybrid option may be introduced in the future. So I guess that's up to y'all with virtual participation being a viable option. I don't know if y'all want to continue to serve on that board since virtual participation is a thing now, or if you'd like to try to appoint somebody else. That's up to you.
All right. What do you think?
Virtual
You're
would work better for
retiring.
me, but
I mean, the virtual's fine with me, but, you know, it's hard to drive that far for that amount of money, and it's an hour and 15-minute drive from my house. So, you know, the virtual would be better if that's what you'd like to do.
Okay. So you are willing to continue serving on the board as long as you can do it virtually?
yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Unless somebody else wants to be on the board.
No, you're good.
Sonia, I see you looking at it pretty hard right
No,
there.
man, I just took this new VIA thing, so.
Oh, yeah, you got that, that's a big one. I think she sent you all some virtual, maybe information too on meetings and links, so just check your emails for those.
We don't need to do anything with this.
Not if we leave it alone.
No.
All right, we're leaving it alone. We're on. Go for it. All right, that takes us to the Lifestar franchise agreement.
That one is me. So this is the same agreement we've had with Lifestar in previous years, just another agreement with them for another 2-year contract with them. Lifestar, for anybody that doesn't know, is our emergency ambulance services for non-emergency ambulance services. They also act as a backup during any kind of emergencies if requested from EMS director, but mostly they handle all of our non-emergency care, which really frees up our ambulances to take care of all their other business they have to take care of. So no changes to this other than the timeline, and just presenting this on behalf of the EMS director, Brendan Gentry, for approval from the board.
Okay.
Anybody has any questions on that?
They don't have a place in Stokes they work out of, do they? Like a hub or anything, or they're coming from Winston-Salem, or?
No, they're stationed here in the county.
They are stationed here? Okay.
And they, excuse me, they do provide a good service. And if it wasn't for them, we'd keep 2 of our ambulances tied up at all times.
We had looked at a few years back in the budget just to kind of due diligence to see, and it was gonna cost a lot more to bring that back in-house.
Yeah,
It definitely is a bonus to us to keep.
I even spoke to Commissioner Morris about that,
Yeah.
you know, about could we hire employees to do this, and he said this was much cheaper
It's
than,
much cheaper. It's not cost effective to do it in-house at all.
Gotcha.
Unless they do a good job.
Yeah.
So this will be on action for the next meeting? All right. Well, that completes the discussion agenda and will take us to action. And the first item is the revised voluntary agriculture district ordinance, which we discussed at the last meeting. Are there any more questions or any new information on that?
Make a motion to approve.
All right.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And the next item is a request to approve the updated risk management job description. Any
Motion
questions?
approved.
All right.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. And this next item is the United Fund request for rental of office space.
Motion to approve.
All right. Need a second?
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. And we added the 80 hours of COVID time retroactive back to July 1, 2021. Do I have a motion on
Motion
that?
to approve.
Make it motion, and I want to add to Commissioner Nicholson's that we make sure we put in our retroactive to
Okay. All right. So I've got a second. All those in favor? Aye. No opposed? Okay. So now that takes us to our closed session. I'm going to read the rationale.
To consult with an attorney employed or retained by the public body in order to preserve the attorney-client privilege between the attorney and the public body, which privilege is hereby acknowledged pursuant to General Statute 143-318.11A3, and to consider the initial employment or appointment of an individual to any office or position other than a vacancy in the Board of County Commissioners or any other public body, or to consider the qualifications, competence, performance, character, and fitness of any public officer or employee other than a member of the Board of Commissioners or of some other public body pursuant to General Statute 143-318.11A6.
I'll make a motion to go in close.
second.
All right. All those in favor? Aye. And closed.
You showed her in this right now?
Nope.
All right, let me go ahead.
I don't want to go home slapping your back.
I didn't hit unpause. Okay. Hit unpaused, okay.
Make a motion, we adjourn.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Merry Christmas, everybody.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Everyone.
That's the first thing I'm gonna do.
What happened? Just off and on switch.
Things can't be simple no more.
She's mad.